Good morning, everybody. Happy Passion Week. This is day number 5, Thursday, and on this day, 2014 years ago, several things happened. The first thing is Jesus sends Peter and John to Jerusalem to prepare for the Passover supper. While he sends them there, he washes the disciples' feet, showing his humility and his servanthood. If you're going to be great, you're going to have to be humble, and you're going to have to be a servant. Secondly, he goes into Jerusalem, has what we know as the Last Supper, but it's really called the Passover Feast, but we call it the Last Supper because it is the last time that he dines with his disciples, and he breaks the bread and he passes the wine as a symbol of what we know now as our Holy Communion. And at the table, there are 3 people. There is the betrayer, Judas, there is the denier, Peter, and there is the doubter, Thomas. And even though he has his people at the table, he still has to commune with them. Sometimes you don't want to deal with people, but because the calling that's on your life, you got to learn how to look beyond people and do the assignment that God has called you to do. Secondly, he leaves from there and he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane and he begins to pray. The Bible tells us that he prayed so much that the sweat came from his brow and it fell like drops of blood. And Jesus says, if it be, let this cup pass. But the very thing that Jesus wanted to pass, the Father says, that's what you got to drink. Because everything that's in the cup is what's going to help you get through this process. Would you just touch somebody and tell them, neighbor, drinks is on the house? I feel like preaching that right now if I could, but my time doesn't allow me. So the Father allows Jesus to see the greater revelation in the time of his prayer. That's why you could never go a day, never go an hour, never go a week without praying, because in that time of praying, not only do you have a time to communicate with God, but as you sit back in your prayer and begin to meditate, God will surely speak to you, because somehow between Jesus telling the Father, if it be not, let this cup pass, until the point where he gets to, he says, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. Somehow, between the cup wanting to be passed and not my will being done, God revealed to Jesus that if you go through the process, the ending is going to be greater than the beginning. And I just come to tell about 5,000 of my followers here on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter that if you go through the process, I know you don't see it yet. You're at point A. I know the doctor told you have cancer. I know you got a 72-hour eviction notice. I know it seems like the car is going to be repossessed. I know it seems like every time you sent out an application and gone on an interview, it hasn't come in your favor. But God told me to tell you this morning, between you telling God, I'm going to give up, and if you can just let God speak to you and show you the revelation that the ending is going to be greater than the beginning, you will, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind what God is getting ready to do. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. I don't see you. Let this cup pass. I'm going through hard times. I'm going through difficult situations. My marriage is on the rocks, but God told me to tell you, if you just tell him, nevertheless, not my will, your will be done. I'm telling you, you're going to see that greater is coming, that better is coming. Matter of fact, you ought to touch somebody next to you and tell them, the rest of my days are going to be the best of my days. God bless you. Happy Holy Thursday.